Belgium, 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 the chocolates, the architecture, the little riverways. But what about the real Belgium? What about the things that nobody tells you in the travel books?
And then all of a sudden, Brian says to me, oh, I need a little wee. So he gets up and goes to the toilet. And when he came back, he was as white as a ghost. And he's going to tell you now why he was. Go on, say it.
So I walked into the only toilet that was there.
In this week's show, you're going to join us in Ghent in Belgium, and we're going to tell you exactly what it's like to be in one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Hello and welcome to It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're bringing this podcast to you from Ghent in Belgium. Ghent. Oh, that's good.
That's quite good, wasn't it?
That's brilliant. Yeah, let's keep that in.
Bert taught me that.
Yeah,
Ghent.
Don't cut that out. So if you haven't been to this channel before, we're Liz and Brian, husband and wife. We are British. We emigrated to New Zealand 13 years ago, and we are currently on a 6-month trip around Europe, backpacking trip. Are we backpacking?
Not really when you've got a car, but
No.
we have got backpacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to know the story about why we're in Europe and why we've got a car, you just need to go back and listen to a couple of the previous podcasts, and that will explain all about it. But basically, we're here for 6 months, and we're going to try and do a podcast from every country.
Yeah.
And show you what it's like. So we thought that before we get into our stories, we like to give you stories about what's been happening in the week. It's going to be you're going to have to bear with us on this one because this is a completely new concept we're doing. We normally just sit at home in our back garden and talk about life in New Zealand.
Yep.
But we thought we would just give you some stories of what's been happening on our travels, what we think of the places that we're visiting, and just wing it really.
Yeah, just show you a bit of what's going on in cities and villages around Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we just say a few facts about Ghent before we
yes.
go? And then if we'd never been to Belgium
Do you know,
before.
I'd never heard of Ghent before.
No,
And it's spelt Gent. The British have got an H in there, so it makes you pronounce it as Ghent and not Gent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason we are in Ghent, say it again, Brian. Ghent. The reason we're there is because we've got a friend who is a member of our private Moving to New Zealand community. Can you believe that? He's a member of our community, and he was like, if you come to New Zealand, if you come to Belgium, you must come and see me. So we've got 2 people in our community that live in Belgium, and we made the effort, and they very, very kindly took us out for the day, showed us around the city, took us out for dinner. It was just lovely, wasn't it?
It was fantastic to see some people that, you've been talking to on your Slack group and, your community, and then you get to meet them face to face. It's pretty good.
But let's just jump in now and just tell you some facts about Ghent. Right, the first one is...
Well, Ghent is the size you can fit Ghent into into Otago on the South Island. So Otago is a region of the South Island, and you can fit the whole of Belgium in that region, in the South Island.
I can't believe that, yeah.
So, and there's 11 million people that live in Belgium. So there's only 1 million people live on the South Island in New Zealand. 11 million people living in Otago. Central Otago, I think, is 10,000 square kilometres. Belgium is around about 30,000 square kilometres, and the whole of Otago is 31,000 square kilometres. How's that for facts?
Yeah, you just literally, Brian, tell the truth. You were just there going, okay, so 10,000, 10,000. You just got it all in. Right, my next fact is Belgium. Everyone says about Belgium being this chocolate box country, beautiful architecture. It is absolutely 100% true. I have never seen...
Of what we've seen here in Ghent anyway.
Yeah, I have never seen such a beautiful, gorgeous looking city in all my life. It's literally like looking at a chocolate box.
Yeah.
All the architecture, they've got this, we don't know what the name of it is, but we've got some footage to show you, but the roofs step down like this, and it's just painted all different colours, cobble streets, streets, cobblestone streets. It's just absolutely beautiful. Right, fact number 3, go on.
Chocolate shops. They've got lots of chocolate shops. It's the home of praline. It's where it was first invented. Absolutely gorgeous. I'll take you for a little run through a chocolate shop. It's amazing. It's beautiful chocolate.
Okay, fact number 4. I absolutely love this. So in the middle of Ghent, there's this beautiful castle. Hang on, what's it called? It's called Gravenstein Castle, and it's from the 12th century. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. And outside in the square, I wasn't looking at the castle because I was too busy thinking about this fact. There's this light, right? And what it is every time a baby is born in is it in Ghent or in Belgium?
It's in Ghent.
Yeah.
It's in Ghent in the maternity wing of the hospital.
Every time a baby is born, the mother is given the choice to press this little button, and this light flickers in the square. Just for a moment, it just flickers.
Just the way she presses it, it's just on and off, on and off.
Yeah. Imagine she had triplets, Bride. Bim, 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 and
Yeah,
the
you
light
can press
goes
as
like
much
this.
as you want. It's just it's for a short amount of
Yeah,
time.
you
isn't
press
it?
it for one baby that you've had.
Yeah.
So it's just to signify new life and just to make people think, oh, a baby has been born. So I just absolutely love that.
It's a lovely idea, isn't it?
It is. They
so
should
good.
have that in every city, shouldn't
Yeah, you
they?
should. Yeah.
Right, okay, so number 5. So about the Dutch speaking.
Yeah, so it's Belgium. My conception of Belgium was that everybody spoke French. Shows how much I know, doesn't it? Because it's mainly Dutch, which
Flemish.
which you would call, is that Flemish? Flemish, yeah, Flemish, which is mainly Dutch. So yes, and there is a bit of German spoken as well.
Yes, and French.
Yeah.
Right, this is another fact. There are loads of bikes everywhere in Ghent, absolutely loads, and they go really, really fast around, don't they?
They just bomb into you.
And they're not the
you can't hear them.
They're not the sort of bikes that like you get in New Zealand where it's like really fancy, what are those electric bikes? These are like the old fashioned, like you see students riding with the big handlebars and the baskets on the front. They just look so cool. It's unbelievable. And yeah, just bike places to park your bikes everywhere. You've got to give way, when you're going, you've got to be careful.
It's not a case of give
crossing.
away. You've just got to lurk every time because you just can't hear them because they're flying along and it's so flat that you get a good speed up as well, and they just come flying through you.
Yeah.
So you just got to be really careful of that. And the good thing is in Ghent as well, regarding bikes, there's not much traffic right where we are in the centre of Ghent. There's only a few, and they've got to be kind of very low emission or zero emissions. And if a car is in here, they more than likely get fined heavily.
You like that, didn't you,
Because they've
Brian?
got lost or something, and it's like, what are you doing in here?
Brian was
There's a French plate on them,
Brian was walking around with our host Bert, and he was like, "Oh, Bert, there's a car there. Will he be fined?" And Bert's like, "Yes, Brian, he will be fined 150 euros." Brian's like, "Good."
Took a picture of it.
Made you happy, that, didn't it, Brian? And also, while we're just on the thing of cars, Brian got to drive a Tesla while we're here.
Bert's Tesla.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the first time I've ever driven a Tesla. And it was just a standard Tesla, and we got
just a standard
standard, and we got onto the little freeway, which is 120k, and Bert just said, "Oh, just put your foot down." And it's like I had these sunglasses like this, and they just flew off the back of my head because the acceleration.
Did they, Brian?
They did. It was phenomenal. It was just like, yeah. It's under 5 seconds the acceleration, I think.
Right. So the last fact that we want to say, and then we're going to be telling you something about, well, you're not going to be able to believe what we're going to be telling you actually about the Airbnb woman. But the last fact is, it just feels so safe.
It does.
It just feels so safe. It's a university city. And it just feels, my pencil doesn't drop off. It just feels, it's massively busy. Like there's loads of people around, like we just said, all those people. But it just feels safe.
Yeah, it does.
I've never thought, this is a bit of a dodgy area. And we've been walking around the city now for 3 days, looking for somewhere to do a podcast. But no, every single place that you go to just feels really, really safe. And I want to say friendly, but I haven't really. You don't really talk to people, do you? Like that. Do you?
Yeah, well, yes, because you're always aware that. I mean, Ghent is a Dutch-speaking city, so that's. Hello. Okay, sorry, no. It's a Dutch-speaking city.
It's like one of those reality shows, isn't it? What's that thing called that they used to do in London? And you'd be like, "Can't park here, mate," and he's on whatever. Anyway,
It's just That's so bizarre. He just got to here, just turn around and just started talking to me. And I'm like,
And it was just at the time
Don't
when
you
I
know who I
said,
am?
right, it was just in the time when I said, oh, we don't know if they're friendly because we haven't really spoken to anyone. And then that was almost like proof, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because he came up and talked to us.
Probably just thought we were a bit loopy talking into a camera.
It is
Yeah.
really friendly. I don't mean to say that Belgian people aren't friendly. I just mean that we haven't. People don't sort of like in New Zealand, like you tend to. Where we're from in New Plymouth, people just tend to give each other a lot of eye contact and like hi. But it's I suppose because there's loads and loads of people, you tend not to do that. Maybe a bit much.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, super safe. Really, really young feel. Just feels. I must admit, I feel 30 years younger now I've been here. Do you, Briaah?
I just feel old, actually.
Briaah's sunglasses whizzing off the back of his head.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, you just feel really young. So yeah, I hope that gives you an idea of what Ghent is like.
Ghent?
Yeah. I'm loving how you're doing that. You're showing
Good.
off doing that now, aren't you?
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, because I can say all the mouldy words nicely, and now you've got this one up on me now because you can say that properly.
I must be from Belgium somewhere
Yeah.
back down the line, or Holland or the Netherlands or something like that. Yeah.
We've had a bit of a nightmare actually trying to find somewhere to do this podcast. We've covered the whole city trying to find a nice little spot.
We're really close to the city centre. Literally, it's literally a minute walk.
And listen to how quiet it is, just
apart from the wind. But
bikes going up and down,
Yeah.
this nice little quiet car, and we saw this spot and we're like, oh, I know, we'll just stand against this wall and just chat, and
yeah.
just gives you a feel of what it's like.
No, it's
and
true.
the weather has just been lovely too. Oh, see, people are friendly, aren't they,
Who's
Briaah?
smiling at us?
Yeah, really friendly.
Yeah.
Right, so let's just tell you a couple of stories then of what's happened. Well, first of all, went to a pub last night, right? We went to a bar, this lovely, big, busy bar. Everyone sits outside, so European, just
Yeah.
lovely, isn't it? And there was so
the
much
bar's
going
called
on.
the Cannon because there's a big, is it orange cannon?
Yeah,
A big orange
yeah.
cannon next to it. Yeah, it's called, well, I can't remember what it's called now, but it was only ever fired once.
Yeah, and we're sitting in this bar and loads going on and people greeting people and just like all these, young people, and me and Brian are sitting there just soaking it all in, loving it. And then all of a sudden, Brian says to me, oh, I need a little wee, he says.
I did a little wee.
Yes, he said.
Did I? I don't remember saying that, but obviously I did.
He said, oh, my bladder's feeling a bit
Oof.
weak.
I say, it's the second one I've had today.
So he gets up and goes to the toilet. And when he came back, he was as white as a ghost. And he's going to tell you now why he was. Go on, say it.
I wasn't white as a
You were,
ghost.
Brian.
No, I was
You were-
just.
you were
I
white.
was just shocked.
Yes.
So I walked into the only toilet that was there, because it said toilet or toilette on the door. So I walk in and there's about 10 women just standing in there, and I'm like, is this the male, the female, or is this a male
That's for
bathroom?
big boys.
And they just looked at me and went, over there. And I'm like, and I looked around the corner, there's 3 cubicles and then 2 urinals. And it's like, you're just going to have a wee in the urinal. She said, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm from New Zealand.
And you just standing there having a tinkle, like.
So let me just get this straight.
Yeah.
Did you have to go to the loo in front of those women?
Yes, you did. But you had your back to them, but still, you're standing like from, a metre away from them,
And how did you feel about that?
Absolutely fine.
No,
it was
how
a
did
good
you
long
feel?
wee, so it
because
was a
you
little
came
short
out-
dribble. I would have been a bit embarrassed, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
that troubles to start having a wee in front of someone.
You did come out and you were looked at very, very shocked. So I'm wondering,
Yes.
does it make you feel uncomfortable having to pull down your underpants?
Well, I did. I didn't. I had my tracksuit bottoms on, so they were down my ankles. No zipper.
But you know what, Briaah? The Dutch, right?
Yeah.
They are very, very, they're into that sort of stuff, aren't they?
I don't
free
know.
and easy. No,
Yeah,
you
but
do
no, they are free. Yeah, but these are Belgium.
I know
They're
they
not
are,
Dutch.
but they're near Dutch
Not Dutch land.
people. And so they were all mixed together. And so that's what it is. It's like, there's not a big deal about seeing a man having, what's the posh word for it? What's the proper word? A urine.
A urine.
A urine.
Yeah, I like a urine.
Oh my God. This is awful. There's no problem seeing a man having a pee.
A Jimmy Riddle.
Yes. And so they don't get embarrassed. But
Well, they obviously didn't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just be
They
aware
patted
of
my
that.
back when I walked away.
Did they?
Well done.
Good boy. Just be aware of that, Brian.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of Brian, let's stay with Brian, shall we? Yesterday, we were having a cup of coffee. We went to this lovely cafe, actually. It was called the Book Cafe, the Old Book Cafe. It's where all the students go. See how we're drawn to where young people are? Because it's just, but it's
It's
true.
vibrant, that's why, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
When you go to all the old people places, they're always a bit stiff and boring, aren't they, Brian?
Yeah.
You know? We like to go to places that are all...
Yeah, I don't like bingo that much.
No, we like to go places where they pull the tracksuit bottoms down, just we in
That's
front of
it.
each other.
Excuse me, I just have a weir here.
Anyway, so we went to this cafe, this book cafe, sitting there, and Brian, I saw him prick up like this, like, oh, what's going on? And I said, what's the matter, Brian? And he said, oh, that wouldn't pass health and safety in New Zealand. And over the road, there's a tradie painting, on this high scaffold, actually. You're not allowed scaffold in New Zealand anymore, are you, Brian?
No, you have to have scaffold in New
Oh,
Zealand.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
You have to have scaffold in
But
New
you have to
Zealand.
wear high vis.
Yeah. And do you know what? He was shirtless.
Yeah.
Shirtless.
No shirt. Yeah.
Painting the building.
Yeah.
Brian was like this, like a little puppy looking over. What's going on?
See, New Zealand never used to have health and safety like that, but now it does. And so two things that's sort of contravening the Health and Safety Act if you don't wear a shirt. First thing is you have to have high vis, so you can't not have a shirt on.
But you know what, Brian? Everyone around could see him because he was so gorgeous.
Yeah, and he had a
And he
cigarette.
and he had a cigarette, and he had his big chest out like this, and he was like painting the walls. And then and he looked down to the cafe where Liz and Brian were sitting in the bookshop. Have you got your health and safety?
Yeah. Got your sunscreen on there, mate?
No, and we just had a conversation. We were like, can you imagine doing that in New Zealand?
Well, you couldn't, yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever, hang on, wait for this car to go past. Have you ever worked on a building site in New Zealand where someone's turned up without their shirt on?
Yeah, you used to all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but not anymore. Not now. The health and safety, you have to have the high vis. You know, so.
So there you go
gone.
then. So we had that
Yeah.
conversation because it was like, that kept us going for a bit about the shirtless tradies.
Yeah, so it was good to see someone doing it.
It was,
Yeah.
wasn't it? It just looked, like I say, his cigarette and everything. It was just like, looked all. There you go. You see, Dutch again, Flemish.
Flemish.
Probably
But
just
it's not,
thinks-
it's Belgium. Yeah.
I know it's Belgium. I know. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying because they speak Dutch.
Yeah.
I know they speak Flemish, but it's that same sort of freedom feeling, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is. Yeah, because the Dutch are, aren't they? Like, you know. They
Yeah,
really
and
are.
Bert did tell us. He said the people in Ghent tend to be like, oh, whatever. If they're told to do something, they're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that, and
Yeah.
go against the rules a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, well, they are. Yeah, and they're quite aggressive on the roads as well.
Oh, Brian.
Just telling you.
So that's New Zealand people aggressive on the roads, Belgian people
Yeah.
aggressive on the roads, Brits aggressive on the roads. Do you think this might be something that you've got a slight problem with?
I try not to be aggressive, but they're aggressive back.
I don't think they're aggressive, Brian.
No, they don't.
No.
They are. Not really.
That's
but-
because you're driving your little Oh, tell the people about the Peugeot, about how many people... Did we say about that?
No, we haven't. No.
No, about how
Yeah.
many people keep stopping you and...
Yeah, it's quite windy now, isn't it? Yeah, no.
Maybe we won't say about the Peugeot.
No.
No, okay.
We'll do
so
that as a
moving
separate one.
So kissing and greeting. What's that? Urinal guy who guy who let his van run away.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing is, last night we went for the traditional dish. I don't know if it's like the famous dish, but it's
well, you get moule and frites, don't you, with mussels and
Yeah. Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But the main dish of this sort of region that we're at is chips, gravy, and meat.
They're not called chips. They're
No,
called
it's frites. I know.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
just saying for the people. That's hot chips, in case you don't know what a chip is.
Yeah, Fritz gravy. So have it with mayonnaise or ketchup. And last night we were like, it just looks so good. We're like, yes, that will do us,
Yeah,
didn't we?
it's very good. It's very, very tasty.
And they double fry the Fritz as well, apparently.
Yeah,
That's
but-
what makes them so crispy on the outside.
Yeah, apparently this is where it was invented, to double fry. You blanch the chips, then you fry them again. So that's...
Did you know that French fries don't come from France? They come
No,
from Belgium.
they come from Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa told me that the other day. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because you tend to think, oh yeah, they'd come from France, wouldn't you?
So just quickly, because we're starving,
Yep.
we're in the we found some good Belgian food.
Yeah.
Some frites.
Real Belgian food. This is what we've been told. We've got to just eat the.
Some frites and some gravy and some meat, and some rosé wine. So, and it came to 25 euros, which is great. So that's on our budget as well. And we're just sat in this cafe in a square, about to eat it. So, bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Right, okay, so getting a bit windy, is it, Brian?
It's getting windy, but we'll see what it's like.
Anyway, so here we are sitting having our dinner in, having our meal in this place, having a glass of wine. It was just so lovely. And it was a really busy area. It was right on the corner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this guy pulls up in his van. And, well, you say what happened.
Well, we're just sitting there eating our stuff, and then there's a guy over to the right. I'll show you the guy. I haven't got you when he was shouting, but all of a sudden he just started, and it was all in Dutch. And I'm like, what? And then I looked round, and there was a tradie had got out of his van. He's walking over to the chip place. Yeah, no shirt on. He's going to go and get his chips and gravy, and his van was rolling down into the oncoming traffic. I mean, it's just like the guy looked round in the end, as in the guy at the tradie, and running back over to his van, couldn't open his door because he had the alarm on, and he's trying to beat the alarm, and they eventually got the door open, got the handbrake on, and then he drove around the square or the triangle that we were sitting on and parked up. So, the guy was, at least he had his head screwed on. The guy was having his big plate of chips. And
he gave him a warning, but the thing is that stood out.
The way he said it, wasn't it?
It was the way he said it. Yeah, I think that's the way it's the thing that stood out the most.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, "Excuse me, mate, your van's rolling down the hill." He was like, "Rah!" Wasn't he, Brian?
Booming at him. Yeah.
Do you know, this is really sad of me to say, but I was secretly hoping.
What, would smash into something?
I was.
Oh, God.
But I was secretly hoping he wouldn't get his door open because I wanted to see where the van went, because he was like going towards all this like bollards and stuff, wasn't it? That's really mean.
It was good, but it was going into like there was coaches and buses and things.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want
by.
it to be a crash, but I was thinking.
It wasn't going fast. It was just going like less than walking pace, but it's something you couldn't stop, like because it's not overly hilly here, like
Yeah.
But it's enough that it would have caused a lot. No one would have got hurt, I don't think, but you never know, do you?
I've got a sad little life, haven't I?
Yes,
by that, I sit there thinking,
excited. Oh, please let it hit something.
Please don't let him get back in that car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened, and then the final thing that happened that we wanted to tell you about. Well, we weren't going to say that. Shall we say it?
Well, I don't know what you're going to say.
About the Airbnb.
Oh no, we've got to say that because it's just rather sad. Yeah.
It's a bit weird, this, but. So we're in this Airbnb. We're not going to tell. We won't name and shame. So don't feel too bad, because you're never going to know where it is anyway. But this lady is renting her room. Well, first of all, I made a mistake, because when I booked it, I thought it said a whole room. What's the word? Separate, in your own place, basically.
It sounded like an annex to the house.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like, with access to
separate entrance,
the garden and everything, like
Yeah.
It's just like, that'll do, because then we can just go and sit in the garden or whatever, and but it's not though, is it?
No. And then when we turned up, it's a lovely, lovely place, really posh house, wooden floors, very architectural. Is that the right word, architectural?
It looks like it's something out of IKEA. It really does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No.
What, that house?
She's spent money on that, right?
Oh, I know she has. Well, I'm not saying. I'm saying that Swedish sort of feel about it.
Yeah, it's got like very shiny floorboards and.
It sounds like you're walking
big
around
artworks
in a toilet, because there's no soft furnishings. It's just,
Anyway, we turned up, and first of all, she was messaging me saying, "Will you be here before 6? Because if you're," and we've just driven over from England. She said, "Are you going to be here before 6? Because if you're not, you'll have to wait until after 9 when I come home from my dancing class." And I'm like, oh God, well that's so that puts you in a bit of a panic, because you're driving up the motorway, aren't you?
Yeah, well, originally we'd said we'd be there at 6:30, and then and you booked it like a month in advance. As when someone turns around and says, "Oh, what time are you going to be here?" And it's like, well, about 6:30, because that's how long it takes to get from Calais to where we're going.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be there.
So that was the first thing. It was like, oh God, okay, we'll definitely. And I was like, put your foot down, Brian, make sure we get there. And I was like, no, we'll be there by 6, because we didn't want to be locked out the house until 9 o'clock. That would have just been a nightmare. Anyway, when we turned up, she was all very like, oh, hello, you're from New Zealand, and na. And she goes, okay, the rule is take your shoes off, which we haven't got a problem with. We're used to that.
Yeah, we're Kiwis.
She said, but the reason for this is because it is noisy on the wooden floorboards and keeps me awake at night. So we're like, okay, all right, fair enough. She's obviously doesn't want us clomping, not that we would, but so her bedroom is down one part of the hallway and our bedroom is up the other. And like she's got this flight of steps and she probably thought if you've got your shoes on, it'd be noisy. So, okay, with just the way she said it a little bit, but that's fine. And then what was the next thing she said? And then so we were staying and there was just like a funny atmosphere, you know, like she in the description it said we could use the garden.
And a private bathroom.
Oh, that was it, the private bathroom. Yeah, in the description it said there's a private bathroom. And then when we went back when we had our night and we went out, and then when we came back we got up the next morning, went in the bathroom, came out, and then when we came back that day, all the things in the bathroom that we'd put out were all cleared away, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I'm like...
Go on.
Go on.
No, and she'd been in our room.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say. And then I came downstairs and she said, oh, hello. And I said, oh, hi. And she said, can I have a question? And I said, yes. And she goes, you say you are from New Zealand? And I said, that's right. Yes, we are. And she said, but you have a British car? And I said, yeah. I said, we're English. I said, so we bought the car in England and drove it over here. But you know, when you feel like, it's like, I'm not lying, you know, we are from New Zealand. And it's just the way she said it. It was like, almost like, and she said, oh, that's a very collectible car. And we said, yeah, like, you know. Anyway, then I got talking to her, went upstairs, did some things, came back down to get my shoes on, got talking to her, and she said, how long are you staying for? And I said, oh, we're in Belgium for a few days, and then we're going around Europe in total for 6 months. And she said, oh, 6 months? Don't you work? And I said, oh, no, yes, this is a working holiday. I said, we've brought our work with us. And she said, oh, yes, I see the computer. And then I thought, hang on a minute, you saw the computer where? Because the computer's in our bedroom. And she said, because every day I check the room for fire. And I was like, okay, I mean, I don't care, you know, it doesn't matter. But
I know, but
it was
it's like, yeah. It's not very nice when you know someone's been in the room.
No.
And I know you have chambermaids and things like that, or whatever they're called, cleaners nowadays, in a hotel.
Yeah.
But you kind of like put everything away. But this was just like supposed to be a private room, but you don't expect the owner just to be nipping in and going
I know,
through
just
your
having
stuff.
well, she wasn't going through our
think
stuff.
she
but
did.
Do you?
I think she would.
Why are you saying that?
I don't know. Maybe just trying to find the passports to see if we were Kiwis.
Oh, they say they're Kiwi.
Or they're both.
Anyway, so then the icing on the cake, finally, where I just said to Brian today, I said, oh, do you know what? We've got to be really careful now. The next Airbnb that we book, we've just got to make sure that we just have our own place, because I love sharing a place with people. If they're friendly, it's fine. But I feel as if like we're paying $85 a night, but I know isn't a lot of money, but I feel as if like we're being not what's the word? You know, when you're on the show, you know, you've got to behave yourself. Not that we wouldn't, but it just feels like that, doesn't it, Brian?
It does. It's yeah. We just know next time. You might as well go couch surfing.
Yeah.
You might as well, like, you know.
Anyway, so the last thing that she did, hang on a minute.
Some Mexicans coming by.
Yeah, it was a bit of a boy racer, wasn't he, Brian?
It was.
Were they from Mexico?
I think so. It sounded like Mexican music.
Oh, right. Yeah, so this morning, we're getting up to go out and we're getting all our stuff together. And I saw her coming out of the kitchen. I thought, oh no, now what? Now what have I done? I promise you I'm from New Zealand. She said, could I have a word? And I said, yes, certainly. I said, and she goes, it's the way that you close the bathroom door in the mornings. And I said, sorry? And she said, it's very loud. 5 or 6 times now you close and you open and you close and you open. And I'm like, are you for real? You know, it's a modern house with soft closing doors, isn't it,
No,
Brian?
they're not soft closing. They just go clunk, and then you can hear the latch snap inside, like clump.
But it's not like we're stood in the bathroom going...
It's like I just said, though, it's like when you're in it, it's like being in a big toilet because it's so hollow. It's just like everything around you is hard.
Yeah.
It's like hard laminate floor, hard ceilings, hard everything.
So I daren't tell Brian. He said, what was she saying? And I said, oh, nothing. She just said that you've got to have a quieter morning routine. So yeah.
And we're talking like this was 8 o'clock.
What, in the morning? Yeah.
We weren't exactly early when we went into the bathroom this morning,
No,
were we? Like,
no.
You know? It's like, you know,
So-
I just like, what's the point in having people in your house, an Airbnb, and you don't like any noise whatsoever? Don't do it.
I know.
Simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah. And like I say, we're paying 85 New Zealand dollars a night. There's no cooking facilities. You're not allowed to close the
Has
bathroom
it gone up now?
door.
Because it was 80 a minute ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, between 80 or 85, I don't know. Which isn't cheap, right?
Oh, plus cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she gives you towels to dry the shower out. I mean, it's a shower. Why do you need to dry a shower? What is that all about?
Well, you like it though,
Those
don't
towels
you?
on the floor are for drying the shower. If you think I'm going to dry your shower, you've got another thing coming.
Oh, Bri, don't
No.
tell lies because you've been in there with that little
I'll
squeegee.
it.
Yes.
I don't mind squeegee, but I'm not toweling it out and drying and buffing up the chrome.
Oh, Bri, imagine that. Imagine if you two were married, getting all your cleaning done.
Yeah, she's got a big jar of bleach, so I'm
Has she?
quite impressed with that.
Anyway, so that's that. So we just thought we'd just share that with you. I don't want you to think we're moaning, but it's like, you've got to know the reality.
It's not a moan. It's just like you just want it to be calm and nice. You
I
don't,
know.
You know, it's like I can't stand it when you go to like Airbnbs and things like that and have a list of rules.
Yeah.
You're like, oh really?
Well, no, rules are rules. You've got to
Alright,
have
yeah,
some
but not a
rules,
list. So
Bri.
some places like, you know, turn this off, please, or turn this light
Yeah.
out, but not a list of things.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh.
But you know what? When that happened, I was sitting outside this morning after she told me that. I went outside and had a little cry to myself. Oh, want to go home. It's just like I was looking through the reviews because she's got loads of reviews.
Yeah.
And right down in the middle of one is this guy's written this review and it says, "Staying here is like staying with your nana. You're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to make any noise. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that." And I thought, oh, I wish I'd seen that before.
I know, it's just really, it pays to look at the reviews, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And the private bathroom, it's got all this stuff in it, and she uses
It's not
it.
it's not a private bathroom. It's definitely not. But you know, I can't. We're not the sort. We're not going to go. Oh, let's bring it up with you.
It's just a bit of fun we're having, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're not horrible people, but
Yeah, that's been our 4 days in Belgium. It's an absolutely beautiful country. Like I say, everything you've ever heard about it, the chocolate, the architecture,
The
beer, it's just all, the weather is fabulous.
yeah, we've had great weather.
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
So everything you've heard about it is true. And it feels, like I say, this city feels so safe, so vibrant. It's just
very good.
absolutely lovely. So if you're going to think about coming to Belgium, then definitely come to this city. It's lovely.
Yeah. Ghent, I'll give it the big thumbs up.
Yes,
really
me
would.
too.
Yeah.
So until next time, we'll probably come to you from France next time.
Yes.
Until then, we'll say, loving you, Belgium.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
been
so
great.
much for having
Yeah.
us. And we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, so kia kaha, stay strong, kia u, stay true, and we'll see you in Normandy next time.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
It's not hard to find out what's going on in New Zealand at the moment. Just turn on the telly and watch the news. You'll see that ministers have resigned and house prices are going down and everything else. But what about what's really going on in New Zealand? What about life on the ground in New Zealand? What's really happening? And they were going at it, these two women. How dare you, the older lady was like, how dare you tell me how I should ride my bike?